What's up, guys? It's your boy Ben Chevy here, back with another video. And today we are reacting to part 2 in the scary story. My suggestion is sit back. Wait, guys. Sorry, this like's messed up. Okay, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
We heard the noise again, but it was different this time. Higher pitched this time, and literally sounded like a person screaming, but it was a lot further away. We honestly didn't know what to think, and we didn't panic, which was surprising, and we all just kind of froze in shock. The next day, we went back up to the memorial, and as we were going for some reason, a French uniformed officer with an armored vest and a cap on comes up to us as we were walking to the entrance. He was armed, a small pistol tucked into a holster on his belt. I know a gun when I see it, and he said that we need to leave, that we aren't allowed in, and that was that. It was really strange, but that was pretty much all that happened. We carried on with our trip, and I forgot about it, but thinking back on the whole thing, it's just really weird. So at the start of the year, we were all introduced to our teachers. All of them were pretty good teachers too, except for Mrs. C. So we went through our classes, and each time we went to one, we had to go through those cheesy beginnings of the year introductions, and it was quickly clear that her class wouldn't be a normal health class, as evidenced by the fact that during her introduction, she went off about how terrible her divorced husband was. Classes started picking up, and her insecurity somehow kept making it into lectures too, and one day, a few weeks into school, she just stopped showing up to class. You know, her job, consistently. Now, at this point, everyone was cutting her some slack because she was a single mum, but it just got worse. We would have to do whole units from a workbook with improvised substitutes who were actually most of the time school staff with no idea what they were doing. And this culminated when Mrs. C missed 2 weeks of school for just no apparent reason. Most of the class could see her mental deterioration, and me and some friends in class started noticing some form of distress from Mrs. C too. More and more stuff about her personal life would leak into lectures that she was there for. And suddenly, it just all came to a head. She suddenly just became distant and developed a really tough shell around her. Mrs. C actually started coming to class consistently too, and she started bringing her kids, closer to toddlers but still, to class. I have a hunch that she started doing this to help justify her inaction to her employers, and one day she just sort of broke down in class about how horrible her husband was and was not taking equal responsibility for her kids and all that. It was a bad joke at this point. I mean, how long would Mrs. C last before she just got fired? Unluckily for us, it was too long. We just sort of endured lectures from this really mentally unstable woman for quite some time. Mind you, she was doing a fine job at suppressing traits associated with what was going on around other school employees. So one day, we come in and she just wasn't in class, breaking her streak of actually coming. And we finally got our answer of just how long she was going to last. A counsellor walked into the room and everyone knew what was up. She was gone. But what had gone down exactly? Well, apparently, she walked into her ex-husband's house on the Sunday before the class period. Her excuse to her ex was to deliver cold medication to her kids, and after threatening to call the cops after her home invasion, she locked herself in the bathroom. She called the cops and unlocked the door to the bathroom, and she then walked over to her coat, pulled out a gun, and opened fire on her ex's girlfriend, killing her. Mrs. C then pinned everyone into the house until the cops showed up, and And that wasn't her first offence either. This obviously all occurred suspiciously close to the time when she hardly showed up to a job, and she apparently had several assault charges against her that she somehow managed to keep secret to her job as a teacher. Weirdly enough too, the students who didn't have her as a teacher didn't really take it seriously, and it took less than 30 minutes after that info was made public to the students in general for them to just make a meme page about the incident. It was weird how that worked, and anyway, it got taken down. This actually happened to me just last night, and I'm still pretty shaken up by the experience, and I promptly quit this terrible part-time job right after it. So, I work at a retail store in a not-so-nice part of town. Since the area isn't the best, not many people ever come into the store, and even less people come in at night. Something important to note too is that the store doesn't have any cameras, nor does it have a panic button. So basically, anyone could do anything, and we've had many people steal little things here and there, and looking back, this should have been my first clue to just quit ASAP. Working this night shift was me, a very small girl, and my co-worker, basically the exact same height and build as me. But we were joking around and just playing on our phones because it was about 7:30 p.m. at this point, and no one had come in for about an hour, and suddenly, a group of people, 2 men and 1 woman, come in all at once. A side note about these people too is that they were all wearing black head to toe, facial tattoos, and were very, very confrontational upon arrival. But the woman was a very husky woman, and I was honestly very intimidated by her. Her friends, the 2 men, were at least 6 foot each, towering over both me and my co-worker, who were both 5'3". One of the men immediately asks us what our ages were and complimented me on my smile. I'm kind of awkwardly laughing and trying to be as kind as possible to get these people to leave fast. But the woman, she basically corners my co-worker over in one of the aisles, so she's unable to walk over to where I am, which is right behind the counter. The woman is basically yelling at my co-worker, asking her, "Why don't you hire me? I need to work, hire me," and pretty much scaring the crap out of both of us. While this is going on too, one of the men walks over and blocks the door, and the other man comes up to the counter and looks at all the $100 and $300 items we've stocked behind the counter and jokes to his friend about how he needs all of these items. He then turns to me and says with a deadpan face, "Give me everything." I awkwardly laugh at first and say, "Everything?" And then he says nothing and just continues to stare right into my face for 5 more seconds before repeating, "Everything." And so I just do that. I start to take things off the shelves while he points to things saying, "Give me this, give me that, and that." And then he just stops and says, "You never asked me how I was going to pay for any of this." The entire time his friends are just saying nothing and standing still while just staring at me. The man then breaks his stare and laughs, prompting all of his buddies to laugh along with him and states that they're going to come back. And as soon as they leave, I make a beeline to the door and I lock it. I call my manager and tell her what happened, and I'm just begging her to let us close because I do not want these people to come back. And, as if on cue, they come back and yank on the door, which is locked, and continue to try and get in. I tell my co-worker to run with me to the back, and we lock the back room door and call the police. By the time the police arrive, they're gone, and nothing could be done because of the lack of any cameras in the store. The police did stay outside the store in their cars until we closed, and actually walked me to my car, which was nice of them. Throughout this whole ordeal, no one was in the store besides me and my co-worker too. And my theory was that they were scoping out the situation before leaving and coming back with a firearm to actually carry out the robbery. Luckily, I had locked the door the moment they stepped out, and I don't like to think about what could have happened if I had brushed it off and just decided to leave the store open. But I was shaking like a leaf when they left, and I know they hadn't done really anything at all, but I trusted my gut feeling, and it was a good decision in the end. So anyway, I left the job soon after that because, well, money wasn't worth.
Okay, guys, so if you want to see part 3, watch tomorrow's video. Guys, I'm Spin Chaffee, you're my subscribers, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.